Okay, so this is July 29th, 2020, and this is my very first beehive, okay? And you can see that I have it on a wood pallet with a couple of cinder blocks and some scrap 2x4 or 4x4 that I was able to wrangle from Home Depot. And the hive is sitting off the ground on those items, okay, which is what's supposed to be. You never want to put it on the ground. I will tell you that this is my first attempt at beekeeping. I am a rank beginner. Everything that I have learned so far about beekeeping I have derived from videos that I have found on YouTube and one or two books that I've been able to find on the subject. Most of the professional beekeepers out there who will see this will probably tell you that this is not really a good idea to rely solely on YouTube videos. This will have to do until I can get hooked up with a local beekeepers association, which will be the next step. But let me just show you what I've got here right now. I have in place right now two brood chambers. That's all I'm going to put on there right now because right now, as you can see, I don't have any bees. I just been in contact with a local beekeeper today, or a bee removal expert, and asked him to please, next time he removes some bees from a person's home, if he will please bring them here and relocate them. So hopefully in a couple weeks or so, next time he has a job to do and removing some bees from inside somebody's house wall or something like that, he'll have enough bees to bring over here to populate my hive. So let me just take this top cover off here. There's the top cover that I just removed. And you can see I've got a inner cover with a ventilation hole. That is, of course, for the ventilation of the hive. Some of the top covers have a notch in the side. I've asked about the notch, if that's supposed to be there for increased ventilation. I worry about the hot months here in Texas from the the heat that we have. It's been a pretty hot summer so far. But what I've just been told is that no, the notch is not absolutely essential. As a matter of fact, it makes it easier for wax moths to get in, and that's a pest that you don't want in your beehive. All right, so I'm going to take this top cover off here. And these are some of the frames that the bees will lay wax on once I get some bees in here. And like I said, these are brood chambers, so this is where all the resources of the hive that will keep the hive alive will be kept. Now, if you notice, I see there's some black things right here. Those are for trapping beetles. Okay, you don't want beetles in the hive. They do have a habit of getting in to the hive, and these plastic things are filled with vegetable oil. And I don't know if you can see it or not. I'm going to try and remove one here. It's filled halfway up with vegetable oil. And what happens is the hive beetles will get in and they will fall through the little holes in there, and then they will drown. And the bees cannot get in there. I don't want to wipe that oil off the edge there. I don't want the bees getting wet with that vegetable oil because then they will drown. I'm actually missing a few frames from here, and I'll tell you about that in a minute, okay? But you can see down below me is the frames for the bottom box here. You can see I have two brood boxes. You really need to have two brood boxes because you want to have room for your hive to grow, okay? And lots of people will start out with just one brood chamber, but then when the hive starts to take off, then you end up having to put another brood chamber on anyway. So I figured, well, might as well just put two brood chambers on right from the beginning, and they'll have plenty of room, and I won't have to disturb the hive to add another brood box, okay? And so that's the story there. So I'm just going to leave the hive right now with just the two brood chambers, okay? Now, later on, when the hive is populated enough there, that's when I will come back to this and put another level up on top, which will be the honey super, and that's where the honey will go that I will hope to eventually harvest. Now it's July right now, okay, and I don't have any bees yet, okay. I'm hoping that I'll have bees in another week or so from the bee removal person. And once they're situated in the hive and they start to establish themselves, then probably by that time winter will come and I'll be needing to feed them. And I've already invested in a couple of ways to feed them, and I'll cover that at a future time. And point being is that won't have any honey this year. There's no way. There's just not enough. It's so dry out here right now that there's no way that the bees would ever be able to manufacture enough comb, because they have to have resources in order to make comb, okay, and to both fill up the brood chambers with what they need to survive and make extra honey. That's just not going to happen this year, okay? That I pretty much resigned myself to. But if I can get a hive established this year, hopefully by this time next year, I will have a couple of full supers of honey. And right now I just have one honey super. I've got it in storage right now to put on with the queen excluder. And I've actually just invested in another one that should be delivered this week there. So I could conceivably stack two honey supers at a future time. So hopefully by this time next year that will be happening, and I'm looking forward to that. And I've got space over here where the top cover is right now to actually put another beehive, and probably in a few weeks or so I'll just go ahead and invest in another one, and that will be there just in case this one gets so big that it needs to be split, okay? And if that happens, then I just, according to what I've learned on the videos, it's a matter of just taking some of the frames out, or maybe even just taking one of the boxes off and swapping it with an empty box, and then putting it in the hive that will go right here, and then that hive will establish itself. And if it comes over there without a queen, then they'll just make a queen, and that will populate that new box. And then I'll have two thriving hives, and that's what I hope to eventually have. All right, so over here, this is what you call a swarm box. And I really have it in a bad location here right now. And I didn't know where else to put it except right here for right now. from what I've been learning about swarm boxes, they should probably be situated a little bit higher. I've got a few trees around here. There's a couple of pecan trees over there that might be suitable for putting a swarm box on, but I just need to find a way to hang it there. But the purpose of this swarm box is to capture a feral swarm that happens to be looking for another place to live. And I got this swarm box thinking that, well, now I have this beehive, now I got to find a way to populate it. And I can't buy any bees until next January. I didn't want to have to wait that long. So I thought, well, let me just set out a swarm box and I might get lucky and a swarm might decide to come in here. So let me just pop this cover off of this one here. Okay. This has a cover similar to the one that covers the beehive. Okay. And inside here those are my 5 missing frames from the brood box over here. And I'm actually going to take them out and put them back over here where they belong. Let me get these out. And I think what I'm just going to end up doing is getting some frames like I got over here. I'll just buy 5 new frames and put them over here in this box there, just keep them permanently in here. Okay, but what the purpose of this swarm box is to give a migrating swarm a place to come hang out. And then once they hang out there, say, oh, this is a nice place to live. Let me just, let's just move my queen and all my buddies, my workers and my drones and everybody, and let's just come and live here. And then I come along afterwards and say, okay, let's relocate you into my hive. Okay, that was the original idea. And what you do with this to make it more attractive to them is, well, first of all, I would have to have frames in here. And also, what you do is, this is the entrance hole right here. And what you do is you take some lemongrass oil and you squirt it around the entrance hole and then inside the hole too. And if there were frames in here, then you would smear a little bit of lemongrass oil on the tops of these frames, just a little bit, okay, with a Q-tip or something. And the bees like the smell of lemongrass oil. Now, another thing I've learned is that you can take old used frames from a brood box, okay, frames that are, for whatever reason, are no good anymore, but still have that bee smell on them, because maybe it's loaded up with propolis and some old wax and maybe even, traces of honey. And you can put them in here, and the bees like the smell of that because, well, those old frames, they smell like bee. Okay, and so that makes it attractive to them. But the thing is, this really needs to be put on top of a tree over here. So I'm gonna take care of doing that later this week. I think I just gotta find a ladder and find a way to attach some screws to this so that it'll stay in place properly. So let me put this cover back on the swarm box here. And the reason I'm taking the frames out of here and putting them back in this hive box here is because I've already been in communication with a local bee removal person, and he has promised me his next batch of bees that he removes from a from a job of removing bees from somebody's house. So with that in mind, I'm just going to have him bring the bees here, and we'll deposit the bees in here. And what will happen is we'll just remove a few of these frames, just like that. And then once he comes in with his box of bees that he's removed from the person's house, then they'll just open the box. They'll just drop the bees inside of here, let them get established there, and, well, hopefully a queen will be with them. Okay, and then these are very carefully put back in. So that's where I'm at right now with my brand new beginning beehive. So me being a rank beginner and struggling to find my way, we're going to hope that I find a certain amount of success with my brand new beehive. I'm going to put the top cover back on. Okay. Is that? Nope, 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 nope. It's not on yet. You'll notice that the all the components just sit one on top of the other. You got your bottom board down here, and the entrance reducer down here, and then you got your first brood box, your second brood box, and then you got your, your top cover and all. They just basically sit one on top of another. But once the bees get established, they will come in with some, it's a material called propolis, which they derive from rosin off of ideally conifer trees. And I don't know if mesquite trees have that in them or not. Wherever they can get it. And basically what they do is they use it to caulk all of the little gaps in here. So like all this little gap right here, well, on the inside of this, that's all going to be sealed up by the bees. They're just natural workers. And those worker bees will just gather it by the leg full, literally the leg full, and bring it in there. And, well, you got, 10, 20,000 bees in there. They're going to bring in enough propolis to caulk the whole hive. Right. And so anyway, that is my beginning beehive. And right now it's just the one. It's sited back here in a remote corner there. There's a lot of shade around here. It's shielded from direct sunlight. And by the way, the entrance always faces to the south. I've learned that. Okay, I've derived that from the information I've been able to get. So, and I didn't know until I read that how important that is for the entrance to face south. All right, so that's where we're at right now. And hopefully later on this week, when I get the bees from the beekeeper or the bee removal person there, I'll be able to take a video of the bees being populating this new beehive. Thank you very much, and good luck with your beekeeping endeavors.